Well, good morning guys. You join us at Winterley Pool Fisheries, one of our local day tickets. We got down here at first light, we've just loaded the gear onto the barrows and we're itching to get down, aren't we, because we've actually never been to this venue before.
No, we've never been here like George says, and there's two lakes on the complex and there's some really nice fish in the lakes, isn't there, as well. So with the temperature being how it has been the last couple of weeks, it's really plummeted. It's been down to -4, like we're still in the middle of November, but it's cold for the time of year. So thought we'd come down here, try and get a few bites and catch some of the lovely fish that live in these lakes. So let's get the gear down there and go and have a look at the lake, mate.
Let's go. Right guys, I'm going to talk you through the bait that we're going to be using on this session, so I'll run you through how I'll mix it up now. Firstly, I start off with about a kilo of the Pacific tuna. These are the 18 mils, but I like to break them down into halves and quarters. I don't want any whole baits being in the mix at this time of year because I don't want to really be feeding the fish up. Just want small particles so they can come in and grub about, and at the end of the day we're just fishing for a bite. Next into the mix, generous glug of the tuna low 30. This just gives the mix a nice bit of liquid attraction, helps them clouds just come off in the water. And then to that I add 3 tins of the old trusty sweet corn, about a kilo 3 tins works out at. Obviously don't really need to say much about this bait, nice bit of visual attraction to go into the mix. And then finally, probably the bulk of the mix is maggots. Maggots really come into their own at this time of year, especially sort of during the winter months, because say when fish are mooching about the lake, not really up for a feed, and they see a bunch of wriggly maggots on the bottom, it might just entice one of them to come in and have a bit of a mooch around. So that's the whole mix there. I'm going to get some out in the lake now and hopefully we can nick a bite or two tonight.
Right, well, we're finally set up in the swim that we've chosen for the night, but to be honest it took a little bit longer than we thought, didn't it, George?
Yeah, we both made our way down to the lake and we decided to have a bit of a lead around to see if we could find any nice firm areas amongst the deeper silt. But straight away we found that the lake's quite a lot shallower than we first thought, with only some areas being around a foot deep, especially in the middle of the two islands in the channel, which we really fancied at first. It looked good. So then after that we decided to do a lap and we took the marker rod with us, didn't we?
Yeah, we took the marker rod round the lake with us and we just like flicked it into likely looking areas really, just to try and find a little bit of deeper water. We got round to this bank where we are now, actually in front of the two swims we've chosen. It goes down to about 5 foot and we found some quite firm areas, haven't we, that we're pretty happy to present baits on. So we set up in the two swims, the rigs went out, little bit of bait's gone out but not much, to be honest, just fish for a bite at a time at the moment, see what happens, but feeling pretty confident going into the night.
I'm tired of empty smiles and nights alone. I'm sick of these paper stars illuminating this hologram. Surrounded by your eyes, I almost wanna float away,
These walls are disappearing, and I don't seem to care. And gets larger and larger, and there's colour everywhere. My bodies are lighter than ever. I'm floating off the ground. There's noises from the windows, but I can't hear a sound. And all of my limitations begin to fade away. In this place I have freedom, it's here I wish to stay. Thoughts become distant feelings, I'm going with the flow. I'll just sit still now and begin by letting go.
Right, well, last night the temperature was a lot lower than forecast. In the early hours it really plummeted, and as a result it sort of knocked the fishing on the head, to be honest. We didn't get much action and we didn't get as many bites as we thought we were going to, but luckily for me at first light I managed to slip this one up. Not the biggest of carp, but a lovely little scaly one, I think you'll agree. Yeah, just literally fishing over a bed of that bait that George said earlier in the session, no more than 3 or 4 spods, and a little pop-up rig that I've been using recently to good effect. So I think what I'll do is might get 1 or 2 stills, slip it back, and then I'll talk you through that pop-up rig.
All of my limitations begin to fade away. In this place I have freedom, it's here I wish to stay. Thoughts become distant feelings, I'm going with the flow. I'll just sit still now and begin by letting.
Right, well, I'm just going to take you through that pop-up rig that I used to catch that fish this morning. So starting from the top, I've got 2 foot of tungsten anti-tangle tube, perfect bit of kit, just pins that last 2 foot of your line down, keeps out of harm's way. Onto the lead arrangement, it's one of the Spock's slick leg clips. You'll have seen me use this in previous videos, but it's a banging piece of kit. There's no ribs on the lead clip, which means the lead can just discharge really easily on the tape, which I prefer it to do. Coming down from that, I've got a micro anti-tangle sleeve, tungsten again. This just helps stop the hook link wrapping around the tubing in flight, keeps it all nice and anti-tangle, and you know you're fishing once you're out there, which is perfect. Down from that, I've got a 6-inch boom section there, and then followed by the hook section. Now, straight away people will be recognising this as the Ronnie rig, which it is. To be honest, people might call me a sheep for getting on this rig, but I don't really care. If it's an edge and it's tripping up carp at the moment, then I'm going to be on it until it's been absolutely hammered and it stops becoming an edge, basically. So to tie this, I've tied a figure of 8 loop knot in the end of the 6-inch boom section, attached a quick change size 11 ring swivel, and to the end of that quick change ring swivel I've attached a size 4 curve shank hook. I prefer a bigger hook, I think you can get away with it with a pop-up, so that's gone on there. I've covered that quick change swivel up and the eye of the size 4 hook up with some shrink tube. That's just to prevent any mouth damage and etc, which 360 rigs can have a bit of bad press for, but with this I've found that it completely eradicates that, keeps it nice and fish safe. Around that shrink tube I've then moulded the putty to counterbalance the hook bait, which is a Pacific tuna white. Done really well on these hook baits. They're awesome little baits, so definitely an edge for the colder months coming up. And just to secure that on the shank, I've got a little hook bead there, followed by a micro hook ring swivel, which is what the bait's mounted onto. So if you're looking for a pop-up rig over the winter, get on the Ronnie rig.